What's good, everybody? It's your boy Dwayne, and we got the Ravens coverage on for you today. Today's topic we're gonna be talking about the offense. Yes, the offense. I don't know where to start, man. It's just been a crazy 2021-2022 season. Lamar Jackson get hurt late in the season. We lose J.K. Dobbins in the preseason. Gus Edwards in training camp. Marcus Peters training camp. Gus Edwards and Marcus Peters in the same day. Wow, I don't know. Lamar Jackson wasn't with his boys all year. He didn't have Rashad Bateman for like the first 4 weeks of the season. Tore his groin in the training camp. I was at that practice when he tore his training camp. It didn't really look good at all. Had to have surgery. Was out at least 4 to 6 weeks, I guess. So that's what derailed him from being with Lamar. Offensive line just wasn't there at all. With the signing of Alejandro Villanueva, paid him $8 million, where you could have left that somewhere else. But I'm gonna leave that for another day, another video. Hey, but we got some bright spots out there, man. Lamar Jackson, first 7 weeks, one of the best passers. They was chanting MVP all over the world for Lamar again. I agree he was the MVP through 7 weeks, because we had all thought the passing game evolved with Hollywood, Mark Andrews, a little bit of Sammy Watkins, but it really wasn't always there. And don't let me get on Greg Roman, man. I hate to say it. Greg Roman. First topic, I'm going to just speak on the quarterback. Lamar Jackson, I think after when we went to Miami, it really wasn't a great showing, because in my opinion, it's like he went to Miami and just partied with Hollywood, Sammy Watkins, and the rest of the Florida boys down there. I mean, I didn't like it personally, because it's like you're down there for a business trip, mainly during the season. We were 6-2 going down to Miami, and I had a great feeling that we was ready to go down there and put Miami right on their backs in the first quarter. I mean, because let's be honest, Miami wasn't the team that they were at the end of the season that they were when they met the Ravens. So it was like, I'm ready to just blow them out, go back home. And it was on a short week as well. So it was like, okay, let's go handle our business. Because I remember previously at the Vikings game, it was like they were kind of struggling to get through the game after the half. So it was like, okay, they straggling because we got a short week, and Harbaugh and Roman and all of them was like, okay, let's just get through this Vikings game, and let's get to Miami, and hoping it's a big W, you know. But it reared its ugly head, because it didn't look like they came to play. I mean, I'm not blaming that on them partying, which it sounded like I just did, but I'm low-key not at the same time, because who knows? Because in my opinion, it looked like they just went down there and didn't have a game plan, because Miami set up there and told Baltimore, hey, we can ready to throw zero coverage at you, and you aren't going to have any answers for it, and which they did. So it looked embarrassing from a fan standpoint, where what did you do for the first 3 days of the week before the game on Thursday? Like I said, I understand it's a Thursday night game, but you still got to come with guns blazing, because you never know on any given, Thursday, Sunday, or Saturday. In that case, it was a Thursday. So that's why I low-key like the Thursday game sometimes, because it's like it's any given day, you know, because that's neither here or there. Next, hey, I'm going to just speak and say this. Like I said, I knew Lamar was the MVP for the first 7 games of the season. It just looked like he had it, man. I don't know what happened. I mean, I guess after that Miami game, they was struggling to go to the bye or whatever, because they was like, oh, let's go to the bye. Let's do whatever we do, because historically the Ravens are a excellent second half team. But it reared its ugly head in Miami, because it didn't look well. And after that Miami game, it didn't look like Lamar Jackson's head was on straight after that Miami game. It looked like they had the Ravens figured out. I mean, but they didn't. But just Lamar didn't look Lamar-ish going into week 9 after the bye. So next week, I'm gonna just say this, man. Make another case for Lamar, man. I just want him to get back healthy because he only played 12 games last year. Got hurt in the Browns game, messed his ankle up, and it just didn't look well. So he was like, you gotta play devil advocate. Next, Tyler Huntley came in, played an excellent job in Chicago. He didn't find out till like that morning that he was going to become the start quarterback for the Ravens because Lamar Jackson couldn't go because he had the flu. So he went out there and was like, "Hey, let me put the big boy drawers on and let me go get this done." And he did that, man. I mean, hey, he did it, man. Sammy Watkins, Hollywood. There were times in that game against the Bears where Tyler Huntley really didn't. Well, he really looked like a rookie. I mean, not a rookie, but a first-time starter because it showed and, it didn't look right. But I'm going to just veer off from Tyler Huntley because, I mean, he's his backup at the end of the day. I'm not going to sit up there and blame him for everything because he, first-time starter against the Bears. The Bears wasn't really that good. He was going against Justin Fields and Andy Dalton and the little system quarterback stuff that they had going on in Chicago and stuff like that. But man, let's talk about this offensive line next, man. Boy, oh boy. His offensive line didn't look very good at all, especially the left side of the line. When you had Alejandro Villanueva, man. I hate to say it, but Eric DaCosta messed up on that one, man. You brought Alejandro Villanueva, you brought him in for $8 million just to be in Madden terms, a 55 overall rating player. Basically, he was over when he left Pittsburgh, and I was getting some heat saying, "Oh, we told you so here in Pittsburgh that he wasn't all this, it wasn't all that." Yeah, now we get it. So it was like, but we do have some bright spots on the offensive line. But it was, then you push Tyree Phillips over there. Really wasn't good because he messed his leg up. And then it was like, what do we do now? And then you had the bright spots. With Bozeman, Makari, and just a rotational piece, just rotational pieces. All I'm going to say is I just hope the Ravens get it together, man, with that offensive line over this offseason, because we might be losing Bozeman, which is almost a 75 to 25% split that Bozeman might be gone. Other than that, you signed Makari back. Let him be a left tackle, man, because you don't know where Ronnie Stanley going to get you when he comes back. If he comes back, I would make a suggestion to go out there. I hate to say it, but go out there and sign Orlando Brown, man. I mean, if Kansas City don't pick his option up, go out there and tell Orlando Brown, "Hey, I understand you was here in Baltimore the year before we traded you. We couldn't and we didn't want to pay you as a left tackle because that was his motive here. He wanted to play left tackle like his dad, and it just wasn't happening. So I would just come to him and be like, "Hey, you get the chance to play left tackle now because, we really don't have anybody because who knows, like I said, who knows what Ronnie Stanley will look like week 1 or if he plays next year." So just throwing that out there. Kevin Zeitler, a beast. I let you know he is a beast. Came from the Cleveland system, came from New York last year, the Giants. I mean, he did excellent. Off-season training. His wife was in labor. He was in the delivery room practicing the stance and, going back doing little blocking technique moves. I really love that about people like that, man, because it's not what you do on the field, man, sometimes, man. That's what you do off the field and how you train your body and your mind to do certain stuff, man. That's all it takes, man. That's all it takes. Who else? Patrick Makari. One of the most solid left tackles or right tackle, wherever they want to move from next year, because he is a nice versatile piece to have on the offensive line, and he will be a starter week 1 of next year. I can promise you that. Very versatile. He can play guard. He can play tackle. He can play a little bit of center, but I prefer him to play either the guard or the tackle, right tackle spot. And then you also got to do Jawan James, where you signed him to like I think a 1-year extension, where you will have him coming back off I think it was an ACL injury, I believe. They come back off an ACL injury, didn't play all 2021. So let's see how that go. Wide receivers. Now, let me start by saying this. One thing about the wide receiving group, it's improved, but it's shifted at I guess the Bears game, where it started getting real ugly again, where plays will break down, wide receivers not getting open, Hollywood just losing his touch because he's not getting enough touches. And that can be understandable because you're trying to be based as a number one receiver, and you're like, hey man, I need touches. Where all the touches were basically going to Mark Andrews because he was a cover for Tyler Huntley in the second half of the season. And let me throw out there Josh Johnson for the second half of the season. Man, I understand where Hollywood coming from, but also you got to understand the situation too. Because he just wanted to be out there and get his yards and prove that he can be a number one receiver here in Baltimore, which I believe he isn't a number one receiver here in Baltimore. He's a number 2, and that's why they drafted Rashad Bateman, because Hollywood has a lot of inconsistent plays. He drops a lot of passes. Every time he don't get the ball, he always going to social media crying, talking about, oh, I need the ball more because you got to let, just like 2020. Or you need to let your soldiers play, or some comment like that. You need to let your soldiers play. And it really wasn't a very good comment to make, even though you wasn't getting the ball. It wasn't it wasn't a smart comment to make, And especially when your team needs you the most, you go out there and go to social media. But I just don't see number one potential in Hollywood. Sammy Watkins didn't give us all that we gave him in the offseason. Now, I understand that came with quarterback and the emergence of Duvernay and Prochet, and Rashad Bateman, which I will get on next. So it was like, you got to take it as is, Hollywood, because you can't sit up there and keep doing what you're doing, man, because it's not going to look well. I hope they pick your fifth option up, because you are an excellent receiver, man. You are an excellent receiver. But it's not a good look. On to my man, Devin Duvernay, man. Hey, Pro Bowl special teamer, kick returner. Greg Roman needs to implement him more in the offense. Whether it be in as everybody would say, the Deebo Samuel role, where he can run the ball out the backfield, just like Cordell Patterson and Deebo Samuel, as you saw. I want to see him on a lot of jet sweeps and stuff because he got speed, man. And Eric DeCosta stated in one of his pressers 2 years ago that he wanted to bring back speed to Baltimore. And that's why he drafted people like Prochet, Duvernay, Hollywood. Even though Hollywood was, I think he was Ozzy's one of the last picks, but that's why you bring him, man, because he wanted speed. And if you go ahead and have 7 receivers on the field, you got to use most of them. Not saying Bateman is a speedy receiver, but you got to use all 7 of your receivers. Or Watkins, I'm sorry. Hot Watkins or Bateman, a speedy receiver. But you got to use your speed, man. I want to see from Roman. I want to see some jet sweeps, some little counter tosses to like Duvernay, Hollywood, and get them in space so that as though they can make a guy miss and Hollywood can get his jack. And then you can free up the offense more better when you get them two working. I don't know, man. It's just, and they need to get Prochet on the field more, man. I don't know. Duvernay, like I said, he shined on special teams mostly because that's what his primary role was. And if anyone knows Baltimore Ravens football, Harbaugh is going to sit up there and tell you special teams is your number one option on this team if you don't fit the offensive scheme. If you're like an offensive player, you don't fit the scheme. You fit the scheme, but you're basically a special teams player. And that's how we win games. Next, Rashad Bateman. Can I be mad at the way Rashad Bateman came on? No, because no. Will I be happy? I'm sorry. Am I very happy the emergence of Rashad Bateman? I am very happy of the emergence of Rashad Bateman, even though he got robbed of a couple touchdowns late in the season. But I can see him as a #1 receiver here in Baltimore. He just need to, in my opinion, he needs to bulk up a little bit, because to me, he's a little bit smaller than I envisioned him to be, but he's really like, he need to bulk up a little bit. I've seen flashes of him he can get open in space. I understand Hollywood can too, but Rashad Bateman can get open in space and create his own yak, because he can make a guy miss in space and he won't fall down to the ground and stuff like that. He can beat you with a double mover here and there and get open, and he can catch the ball in traffic, which the Ravens need if we're gonna try to emerge this passing game in 2022, which we should emerge the passing game, because we're gonna get our passer back in Lamar Jackson. So I want to see Rashad Bateman keep on working in the offseason, go get with Lamar, Hollywood, Mark Andrews, Devin Duvernay. I want all of them to get together and just work their butts off this summer and come back in 2022 with a high-power offense that we know of. I want 2019 spirit back, man, where it was like, let's run it up. Let's run it up, man. Averaging 30 points a game. I ain't saying blowing everybody out by 30, but we averaging 30 points a game. Having Baltimore jumping on Monday mornings when, we can just go to work, have fun. We ain't got to be moping around like I do when I go to work after a Ravens loss. So, yeah, that's what I want. Need I say more? I mean, I'm going to say his name, Mark Andrews. Nothing bad. I mean, nothing like negative to say, but just show up in big moments. I'm going to say just show up in big moments, because there has been times this year where it was like we were in crunch time and we needed his catches and he just dropped the ball, which we don't need. Mark Andrews, first team All-Pro, All NFL. Basically the best tight end in the game this year over Kelsey. And I'm glad to say that, because it's been him and Kelsey all the last 3 years, so I can say that he better. Like I said, nothing much to say about Mark Andrews. Just keep doing your thing, man. Just wait for the horses to come back, because they're gonna come back, and the stable's gonna be fine. So man, running backs. Injuries, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, what's the other guy named? I forgot the speedy guy. Justice Hill, they come back. I remotely think we'll be fine in a running back, because really the running back room this year, that after they all went down, didn't look very well. Even though we did have Le'Veon in there, here and there, sprinkling here and there, but it really wasn't Ravens rushing football, where it was like, okay, let's just have a lean over this year. Let's hope they give us something. Let's just hope, what's his name? Latavius Murray give us something. Devontae Freeman give us something. Le'Veon Bell give us something. And I was hoping they implemented Tyshawn Williams in the offense a little bit, because he was a lot younger, a bigger burst, because he had a bigger burst in preseason. There was a lot of talk about him being running back #1, but I guess Tyshawn Williams couldn't get out the doghouse. But Harbaugh doghouse is pretty hard to get out of when you're trying to get some playing time on this team. So that's why they had to go basically old and get some old heads from off the streets to come play. I mean, Devonta Freeman shows some. Devonta Freeman and Latavius Murray was a great 1-2 punch down the stretch. Where it was like, okay, let's just keep feeding the ball. But the man I'm about to talk about next, the head of the operation, I'm talking about him next. It really ugly head, but it was time. Devonta Freeman didn't fumble. Latavius Murray didn't fumble. I mean, Latavius Murray got hurt for like 3 games, I believe. He got hurt. And that's how Devonta Freeman really captured that #1 role here in Baltimore at his time that he was here in Baltimore because of Latavius Murray. Not saying that was a good thing, but he really showed that he can be still a decent #1 back for an NFL franchise in the NFL. And it, like, in my opinion, it was a great, it was a great time to see him do. It was a great flashback moment to see him do some of the stuff he was doing, like out of the backfield, catching the ball, making a guy miss at least once, and then, getting some yards for the offense, to get some first downs and stuff like that. Latavius Murray, like I said, he was another player off the street, did very well. He was the bully, basically. He was the Gus Edwards, basically, for the running game. So basically, the third and shorts, the fourth and shorts, the second and shorts, or whatever, he got the ball because he was the Gus Edwards. And Devonta Freeman was basically the souped up J.K. Dobbins, where you get him with a little bit of speed and you go get him in an open field where he can catch the ball and make a guy miss, get down the field, and do this, that, and the third. Man, I just want to see the running back room come back in 2022. J.K. Dobbins. I saw some video of J.K. Dobbins the other day in the facility getting his leg work in. He tore his ACL, getting some leg work in, getting some rehab, and I heard him doing a little bit of here and there, getting back. Gus Edwards as well. He was in the pool at the training facility. I think it was like week 15. He was in the training facility getting some leg work in. Rehabbing his leg and stuff so he can be back for next year. They were guys that at the beginning of the season we were like, okay, we can lead the league in rushing again with like 285 yards rushing a game and doing this and doing that. But after they got hurt, it was like, what can we do? Man, and now this the time for Greg Roman. I had to take a pause for that, man, because I got to take a pause when I talk about Greg Roman, man, because there's not a lot of positive. Me personally, I have to say, but there is some positive things I have to say about Roman. So I'm going to just start with the positive first. Even though we were missing the running back room, Greg Roman did show that he can make... hate to say it. He can make something out of nothing, even though when Lamar got hurt, and that's even when Lamar got hurt, he sat up there and told Tyler Huntley, "Oh, we got your back. The running backs got your back, so we just gonna help you do this, that, and the third." But I guess that's the only good thing I can say, man. Like I said, I don't hate the guy because hate is a strong word for anybody, but Greg Roman just isn't it here in Baltimore as an offensive coordinator. I think his time has came and gone. I think after last year, where it's like you need to do better in your route scheme and your route tree, and you need to make sure your wide receivers aren't running into each other in the back of the end zone. Because it seems like I remember watching one possession. I forgot what game it was. It was one possession. I think it was the Steelers game. Yeah, it was. It was the Steelers game. We had that game in hand, low key. If we scored that on that last possession, we win the game going out. Greg Roman ran the ball almost 76 yards, down the field. So Greg Roman get the ball to like the 25, the 20 between inside the 20 or whatever. And he proceeds to pass the ball with Tyler Huntley 3 straight plays. And everybody's sitting, and I'm saying to myself, why are you passing the ball where you just ran the ball for basically 76 yards to get down the field and put you in a position to win the game? And it was like, this guy, at this point, it was like, this guy isn't fit because his offense, that's just not the only point, but it's a point in time where it's like his time is getting stale, where offenses are like, okay, defenses are like, okay, we know what's getting ready to come. When you get inside the 20-yard line, they're going to pass the ball 3 straight downs, and then let's just run zone because, Tyler Huntley, as a young quarterback, he really, he was processing it, but it really wasn't coming quickly to him because of the route trees that the wide receivers were running. So it was like, okay, let's get down that run, and then you pass, and then the defenses are sitting back down there. Oh, they get ready to pass the ball. So let's just sit back and zone, play bump and run coverage. And then you just get out of your heavy personnel. And it's just sad. It's just sad. Because if you're going to get out your heavy personnel, at least make it look decent enough where it's like you can deceive the defense to be like, okay, you know we're going to run the ball. You know we might pass the ball here in this situation. Let's just do this. But like I said, I understand it's a backup quarterback, but you got to drill that in his head. And Roman hasn't throughout this season, he haven't showed me where he can be like, let me lead this freight without Lamar, you know, because that was my thing. Because after Lamar went down in the Browns game, I think it was like the first quarter, I think he went down, and I was like, what do you have now to help the backup and this offense flourish to get down the field and create points for our defense, so that as though our defense won't work as hard as they did in the second half of the season. I mean, yeah, after the second half of the season after Lamar went down. And it seemed like it really didn't even do anything. It's like you playing Madden and then you just asking Madden to pick your play, and then the play isn't working because you playing against people that got customized playbooks, you know? And then it was just sad. And then another occasion, Greg Roman, it was like people got film on you from when you was in San Francisco. You got to do better than that, man, because even when you ran this offense with Colin Kaepernick, it got stale, and it made Colin Kaepernick look bad. And to some points, and over the past year and a half, 2 years, it made Lamar look bad, because it was like Lamar's doing all this, doing all that. You got to get the job done for him too. You got to come up there and just be like, okay, I got you, Lamar. Let me design this play, and let me just get out your Madden playbook. You know, get out of that playbook. And I've mentioned this to a couple people. Greg Roman should come out. I know it won't happen, but Greg Roman should come out of the booth, whether it's here or wherever he go, because I believe he should be fired today. Like, I believe that, like, in my heart. He should be fired today. But I believe he should come out of the booth, and just like Wink Martindale, he should be on the field with the players, so the players can sit up there and tell him, oh, coach, you got to do this, you got to do that. Because I don't think he's getting a good visual, and I don't think he's getting good communication from nobody but Lamar, Huntley, Josh Johnson on what's going on the field. And that's not a good look, because I'm not a coach, but I'm sitting there saying to myself, when I was a coach for a Pop Warner team, I wanted my players, I ain't had no choice, but I wanted to tell my players, what do you see? What can I do? What do you want to do? I don't think he gives his players that privilege to be like, what do you want to do to make this work and make this train go forward, you know? And it's like, I just want to see somebody different in the offensive coordinator spot, man. Because we all know, if you're a Ravens fan and you know the Ravens from outside source, John Harbaugh is a tight-knit person where he doesn't like to he like to hold people on like a longer leash than they need to be on. You understand? Because it gets better to get rid of somebody too soon than rather too late, because now it's getting ready to be too late. Where, let's just throw a hypothetical out there. Let's just say the Ravens don't fire Greg Roman. We go into 2022 season and Greg Roman's still running the same plays, and the offense isn't flourishing like it's supposed, or not supposed to, but the offense isn't flourishing like the fans like myself and people wanted to. Because you don't, like I said, and like I told you, and even though, because we on the topic of offense, you don't want to waste Lamar's window, his championship window. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to waste Lamar's championship window. And in my opinion, Greg Roman is wasting Lamar's championship window. I hate to say that, but he's risking Lamar's championship window, because he's not going to be cheap going into next year. I know that for a fact. He isn't going to be cheap. So, I mean, Greg Roman, like I said, I mean, I don't have a lot of positive things to say, because it didn't look right. It looks like a bunch of trash, and it looked like Pop Warner plays, man. I mean, My baby cousin can go out there and can run them plays. And Steve Smith have alluded to him last year after the Buffalo Bills playoff game. Greg Roman got these elementary style playbook, and it's not going to work. And Lamar isn't going to benefit from you running these elementary style route trees, play calling, and doing stupid stuff. And that's where I'm at with it. It's ridiculous. So, like I said, I mean, I'll come up with some candidates that I believe that can replace Roman probably later on in the week when I make my coordinator like decisions and stuff like that. But I think Greg Roman needs to be fired, because if you fire Wink for something that he had basically no control over, you have to fire Greg Roman for something he had control over, because he had Lamar, he had Hollywood, he had Andrews, he had Rashad Bateman. And it was like, you need to do better, man. I mean, now can I reframe and say that do we need to demote him to a run game coordinator, because he's great at a run game coordinator? I would say go on a limb and say that, but no, you need to be fired. You shouldn't be here, because, like I said, John Harbaugh is a close-knit type of guy. And I know he won't sit up there and be like, oh, you're fired, because he know his guys and he love his guys. I mean, understand it, as a head coach, you should love your guys and trust your guys. But there comes a point in time where your trust runs out. And especially with most of the fans, I ain't going to say all of them, but most of the fans, your trust has ran out. And it's time for you to go, Greg Roman. That's the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed this video and my little mini breakdown of the offense. Probably tomorrow or Thursday, I'll be bringing the defensive breakdown, where I break down the front four, the linebackers, and the secondary. And I assess Wink's time here in Baltimore as a defensive coordinator. And I think in that video, I definitely will be telling you the candidates that should be replaced, that I think should replace Wink Martindale here in Baltimore. So have a great one, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I enjoyed you, and let's get this RavensFlock.